Hi there, I'm Champion Trader Kevin Davey, and today I'm going to talk to you about 3 ways you can improve your trading performance. So let's get started. Okay, so you might be wondering, well, hey, why do I have to improve my trading performance? Well, perhaps your trading performance is like this, where you create a back test. Especially if you're algo trading, you're always creating back tests. So maybe you've created one like this. This looks pretty good, right? But then, once you go live, it does this. It goes flat, goes down. It just doesn't perform the same as it did during the back test. If that's happened to you, stay tuned. I'll explain some ways to work around that. The problem is most overfit back tests do poorly in real time. That's what it comes down to. So if you're experiencing this, you really have to change the way you're developing your systems. This is elusive for most traders, so don't feel bad that, oh man, I'm the only person who can't build a backtest that works good going forward. Hey, this affects every algo trader. Having that good real-time performance from a good backtest is very elusive. People who've worked with me, my workshop students, they've actually created over 500 strategies that have worked in real time. So maybe that's something to consider. It was ranked best trading school, either second or third place, 3 years in a row. And in this video, I'm going to take what some of my students have learned and share them with everybody. Here are the secrets. In-opt, good butt, and baby it. And you might be like, well, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to go through each of those right now. First, in-opt. Most experienced traders understand that optimization is not the way to get trading success. It just doesn't work. And the reason is price data is noisy. There's a lot of back and forth and it's hard to find signals. So when you optimize with noisy data, a lot of times the optimization doesn't know that it's noise and it will fit as best it can. And usually noise changes when you go live. It's different all the time, and that's what causes problems. That optimization of fitting noise just doesn't work. Okay? The trick is to balance what you're doing in your back test with the future performance, right? Because you want good future performance. But if you have a lot of inputs, a lot of rules, a lot of iterations, for example, you're going to find trouble with future performance. More is not better with these things, okay? So I've reviewed over 2,000 strategies that either I created or my students created, and I found 3 keys that really will help you develop better systems. And it's called intelligent optimization. The first one is using 4 or less optimized inputs. Don't have 50 inputs for your strategy, because if you optimize those, you're going to get a great looking back test, but it's not going to work going forward. So 4 or less. I really like 2 or 3, but you can go 4. Above that, you start to run into curve fitting. The second part of intelligent optimization is, wherever you can, be symmetrical, meaning have the exact opposite rules for long and short. So let's say you did a 50 bar breakout to enter long, do a 50 bar breakout on the short side to enter short. Pretty simple. Those tend to be the best. Now I realize those might not work so well for stock indices, so maybe you have to make some adjustments there because stocks do tend to go up. But in general, symmetry is a good thing. And then the final way that you can intelligently optimize is don't do a lot of iterations. 1,000 iterations or less, even 100 or less, or even better. The fewer, the better with optimization. And that blows most people's minds that less optimization is actually better, because most people are kind of trained to get the best answer possible, meaning the best backtest. And unfortunately, that means more optimization. And that's not a good thing. So less is actually better. So that's secret number one, intelligent optimization. The second one I call good but, and that's related to the backtest. And I'm sure you've seen this if you've backtested at all. If you play around with the strategy enough, you can eventually go from the chart on the left to the chart on the right, where you keep adding rules, you keep optimizing, you keep finessing what you're doing. Eventually, you can make a great backtest out of nothing. Okay? And a lot of people think that's a good thing. Guess what? It's a terrible thing. You want to make it good, but not great. So here's a chart of strategy success rate from a lot of those strategies I looked at. And I'm looking at a metric called return to drawdown ratio. And what this is saying, the red block on the left, saying if you have the return to drawdown below a certain value, you have about a 28% chance of passing a strategy. And if you have it above a certain value, you only have about a 35%. There's a sweet spot in the middle, in between those two values, where your strategy success rate goes up a lot. What that's telling you is you want to make what you're doing good as far as the backtest, but not great. So the data bears that out. In other words, it's good, but not too good. Okay? And you can think of it as Goldilocks, right? Where the strategies on the left are too cold, the strategies on the right are too hot. The strategies in the middle are just right. To calculate that, I use my Monte Carlo spreadsheet. You can go to my website and download it for free. And basically, I have two numbers. I'm calling them X1 and X2 in the previous chart. Just to confuse you, I called them X and Y. It's the same thing. But I only accept strategies with a return to drawdown greater than X1 and less than X2, because that's where I have my greatest chance of success. Now, how do you do that? How do you find out what X2 and X1 are? Of course, if you took my course, you'd already know those things. But let's say you want to do this on your own. Well, test probably 50, 100 strategies and see which ones end up doing good in real time, and you should be able to come up with your own values for X1 and X2. Or maybe you'll find a whole different metric. I use return to drawdown because it's a risk-adjusted return, but maybe you'll find something else. It's probably worth a look. And obviously, you can get the answer and avoid a lot of that work by attending my workshop. Okay, the last secret is what I call baby it. And here's what most people do when they build a strategy. They build the strategy, they backtest it, optimize it, then they trade it live and they lose money. And then they go back and build another strategy or modify that strategy. That's bad. What we do in the strategy factory is we add another step in here where we wait a period of time and we only trade the strategies that are good. And then once we know we can build strategies this way, and it's a good way to vet the strategies, we can actually build more. Doing this, waiting before you go trade, eliminates what I call the dogs, the bad strategies that are masquerading as good ones, before you commit real money. Okay? And it's a pretty drastic difference of how good strategies are when you include this incubation waiting period. And most traders who take my class say that this step alone has saved them a ton of money. My approach to this is you calculate an average profit that you expect from the back test. Then you calculate a real-time profit from the live performance. Doesn't have to be real money if you do it correctly. And then if that ratio is above a certain value, you go live. And of course, I give my students the value to use. If you were doing it yourself, you just have to figure out the YY variable that's shown in red here. You'd have to figure that out on your own based on your own results. But you can do it yourself. Okay, so those are 3 proven secrets. Again, intelligent optimization, less than 1,000 iterations, 4 inputs, no more. Good, but not too good. Get that sweet spot of your strategy backtest where they're not overfit. And finally, you want to run a strategy live before you commit real money to it. Now, those values might be different for you if you go about doing this yourself. Of course, I share them with people who take my course. Just remember, if you're going to do this yourself, make sure you have a lot of strategies to evaluate. Don't evaluate 3 or 4 strategies and say, oh, well, these are my values to use. You need a lot of strategies. I've come up with the numbers I have based on thousands of strategies. And if you don't want to do that, then the solution could be my Strategy Factory workshop. It's an all-day workshop with a ton of bonus videos. Includes easy language programming since I use TradeStation. It includes a private forum, a club where we share strategies among students, and I also give you some strategies you can trade almost out of the gate. If you're interested, just go to my website, kjtradingsystems.com, and click on the workshop menu item at the very top. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I hope that this helps you improve your algo trading. See ya.